Hello and welcome. Today we are in the Tier 9 US Supercruise at the Alaska. And we're playing on the map Estuary, and actually, you know what? I want to talk about this. This map is called Estuary. I looked up what the word estuary means. Actually, I already knew what it meant because I've been playing Path of Exile, and I don't know about you, but I don't see any rivers over here. Do you guys see any rivers? It's supposed to be an enclosed area, you know, with a river flowing into it, and it's supposed to be brackish water. I can't see anything like that on this map. I mean, technically, I guess if you look at A1, you could consider maybe that could be something like an estuary, but why would you name a map over a corner of the map that's actually inaccessible to the gameplay? It seems kinda weird. Anyway, so we're playing on the map Estuary. It's a tier 7 to 9 battle. I believe actually I'm the only tier 9 ship on my team. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, it does appear to be that way. Which also means that the enemy only has one tier 9 ship, which is the Seattle. I think our team actually got the better end of that deal, because I do think the Alaska is quite a bit superior in that sense. The enemy does have a division of Pruva, with a Myoko and a New Orleans and a Chapayev, and I really am not afraid of that division. In fact, the Alaska is pretty much the perfect ship to fight a division like that, except these guys are actually good at the game, which makes me give up on that fight, because being good at the game means that they know what WASD is, and WASD hacks kinda does not go very well with an Alaska due to her slow shell velocity. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna go more towards the middle of the map and hopefully find better targets. While I do so, I will still obviously try to deal damage. I'm also asking my battleships to stop AFKing. I mean, look at that North Carolina, right? It's 4 minutes and 15 seconds into the game and he has barely left the spawn. I really don't know what he's trying to do in this match. I mean, our Massachusetts is doing well. He's literally in the middle of a cap. But the Bismarck and the Lyon and the North Carolina behind her, I'm slightly less happy with them. So, this Myoko is actually sailing closer, and because I know that he uses WASD hacks, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna counter his WASD hacks by firing one by one. You see, if he starts turning for some of these turret fires, well, the other ones will actually be able to connect. If RNG permits, which apparently it doesn't really well, but we'll try anyway. So we fire one, we fire the next one, and then we fire the third one. And since she's pretty much committed to that turn, we should be able to hit a few of those. For a nice 2 over penetrations and 1 ricochet. That was an amazing salvo. I am incredibly impressed. And this will be the last time I fire at this Myoko, because not because I think I'm gonna be able to sink her, but because she's gonna be sailing away, and hitting a Myoko that's sailing away is kinda like hitting a destroyer. I mean, look at the dispersion. The dispersion is like the distance between each of my shells was greater than like 3 times the width of that Myoko. What's the chance that I'm actually gonna be able to hit stuff like that? Yeah, it's not happening. I'm gonna leave that to somebody else that really wants to deal with it. These shells actually look pretty good until they actually landed and only splashed the ship. So anyway, the title of the video is, why is Alaska so fun? And let's be honest, so far it hasn't really been that fun. I've been playing 6 minutes and 10 seconds in this match and I've barely done anything. I've only seen, you know, frustration by my shells not landing on the targets I would like them to land on. However, I did think about this problem, well, not problem, this topic a little bit, and I realized that the reason Alaska is fun is because you see, Alaska used to be part of Russia, right? And I mean, Soviet ships or Russian ships in the game tend to be pretty damn good. And that explains why Alaska is so good, because it's secretly a Russian ship still. And I mean, that's kind of all you need to know. Okay, joking aside, I actually did think a little bit about why the Alaska is so much fun. And I think it's because Alaska is a very, very powerful ship. It's basically... I would actually argue it's kind of like a battleship disguised as a cruiser. It gets cruiser matchmaking, but it really, really plays like a I'd like to say it really plays like a battleship, but that's not actually quite accurate either. You see, she has one thing that battleships don't have, which is Alaska has very good AP ricochet angles. Combine that with her very good AP penetration values, and you get into situations where battleships wouldn't have much fun at all because they would simply ricochet off of angled targets. Whereas something like an Alaska does not. Also, that's a nice 17k damage to that Teppets. I much prefer shooting this Teppets. I landed 8 shells out of 9 compared to that Myoko earlier. By the way, she's still alive, somehow. But I'm sure that she doesn't have that much HP. I mean, imagine if that Myoko had a heal. Jesus Christ, that would be horrifying. Luckily she doesn't, and she only has 300 HP left. I'm sure somebody's gonna derp a shell into her by accident. So the Teppets realized that, hey, this Alaska actually deals a lot of damage, maybe I should angle. Which is what she did, and now I can't really do much damage to her. On the bright side, she can't really do damage to me either. Well, first of all, she would actually have to hit me, but even if she hits me, there's a very high chance that she basically does nothing at all to me. I do want to switch over to HE. Hopefully I will start fires and try to finish off the Teppets, but let's be honest, Alaska really isn't a ship that's good at finishing off targets. She really, really suffers at doing so. Unless the ship is broadside or close range or something along those lines. But if it's a ship sailing away, you're not gonna have much success. So I'm just gonna reverse over here. Because, I mean, we're actually behind in terms of the ships left. But I don't think we're necessarily behind in actual, the actual match. They have a Teppets, but she's low HP, and she really can't do much to me. And they have a Seattle, we have an Alaska. Of course, the Alaska is a much better choice. And I mean, considering that the caps are equal, we're actually locking the sea cap, they don't have a destroyer, I actually like our position. And we simply kinda need to just wait a little bit. And if enough time goes by, we should be winning this. I do fire HE at this Nelson, but it's a bit... HE really doesn't do much on the Alaska, you really want to fire AP almost all the time. So I'm gonna switch back to AP. And I'm gonna continue reversing, for 2 reasons. One, so that I can turn to the left when necessary, which is soon enough, and go engage that Nelson and Mogami and Chapayev. And the other reason is that while reversing I can fire shots at this Bismarck, because my shells can go over this island, because the shells are slow, but this also means that they go really high up and you can actually fire over islands with them. And a nice over 9,000 damage to that Bismarck. Let's see what we can do as a follow-up. Okay, that one actually doesn't look very good. I led a bit and the Bismarck seems to be slowing down. I really expected her to continue moving forward, considering that she is next to our cap zone, and you would really think that the battleship would try to get into the cap zone as quickly as possible, but I suppose it did outplay me. So, there might be some merit to playing the way the Bismarck is. Considering how low HP she is, actually it might be a good idea to just try to disengage, but I don't think she can, she's a bit too close to our friendly Bismarck. Anyway, we are finally engaging the Nelson. She is showing broadside, and considering the incredible AP penetration on the Alaska, this should be a nice Citadel hit right there. Just like that. I mean, did you see that Citadel hit? It did a massive 890 damage. I'm so proud of my gunners. Okay, let's try again. This time we're actually closer. We're at 9 kilometers. Surely it'll work out fine. See? Did you see that amazing Citadel hit? Are you impressed yet? I certainly am. Let's see how close we have to get to actually do something against this Nelson. We are behind actually in ships. We're 5 ships against 7. So we do need to actually pull a rabbit out of our hats. Well, maybe not a rabbit, but we do need to pull something useful out of our hat here. The Nelson seems to be ignoring me, which is great. She does angle a little bit, but these kinds of worthless anglings don't really make a difference against the Nel. I get the Citadel now? Really? Not before. None of those earlier salvos. No Citadels there. But we get one now? Seriously? Okay, I mean, I'm happy with Citadels, but it just seems kind of weird. And she didn't actually sink again. Oh well. I guess I'll take a shot on the Chapayev and then ram the North Carolina or something, right? I mean, that seems like a good plan. Except I missed the North Carolina. And now, I don't know what to do. Because I was hoping to ram the North Carolina. And I'm being shelled at by a Chapayev and the Seattle. And I don't really have that much help with me. And there's North Carolina behind me, who is probably going to hurt me quite a lot with the next salvo. I guess the North Carolina is showing me broadside, so I might as well take advantage of this. Wait, what? She's firing HE at me? Wow. 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 This is some quality gameplay right here. An NC firing HE at an Alaska. Unfortunately, there's too much HE spam, and I am actually going to go down to this. But hey, we almost got the NC. I guess it wasn't that different from not ramming or not ramming the NC, right? In fact, it might have actually been better because we tanked damage from the Seattle and the Chapayev for a little bit, so they weren't able to shoot at somebody else. Since the NC went down anyway, and I mean, she only fired at me, so there really was no downside. Now, the Seattle is in trouble. It's 4 against 3. We are at the 200 points lead, and I don't know what the Seattle could possibly do. I mean, he can't even disengage properly here, because if he keeps reversing, there's a York and a North Carolina over there, and there's a Leon ahead. So if she tries to turn and run, she would have to do it, like, right now. And, well, eventually she ends up going down. But this Chapayev here, she's the last ship left, is actually engaging our NC. It's actually a pretty decent fight. She only had 14k HP to start, NC had 35k, but now NC is down to 7k and she has already blown her load. So, now, it's time to meet some more torpedoes, NC. You are going to regret derping that salvo. Enjoy. I'd like to note that these torpedoes almost missed, but she only needed one hit. However, eventually, you know, they end up losing by the points. So why is the Alaska fun? Because of the amazing AP shells combined with the pretty tanky cruiser. And that makes her quite fun. Or alternatively, because she is secretly a Soviet ship. Compliment the Mahan, who is a tier 7 ship and ended up topping the board, probably because she gets more damage, more XP for hitting higher tier targets. But 165k is a pretty respectable result, and I really can't complain about that one. Although I can absolutely complain about how my AP shells hit that Nelson. Then again, it's a cruiser versus a battleship. You know, you can't expect everything. Look at how many HE shells I took. 51 from the Chapayev. 51 shells. It's like I am actually a battleship. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for your continued support, Seb Almoso. And I hope I'll see you guys next time.